Welcome to the DMF. I am your host, Justin Yance. Today, my guest is Stéphane Olijnyk. He is a director. Enjoy. Also, we're taping from Israel over Zoom. Okay, today I have a special guest. I have Stéphane Olijnyk. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So my first question is, what was it like growing up where you did in Lyon, France?
In
And I
Lyon.
butchered the name. Lyon.
So I was born in the 70s in Lyon, but I didn't stay there. We moved a lot in France. We used to live in a lot of cities in France, like Strasbourg, Nice, Limoges, Paris. So I think when I was born in Lyon, I stayed like 6 months. That's all. So I don't know very well Lyon. I went back a few years, many years later when I was like 18, 19 years. I spent like 3 years, but I don't remember very well. It's not, So I moved a lot. So in a lot of French cities. So I don't, it was difficult for me when I was a child because I don't have a lot of friends because you are moving, so you can't have friendship. So, but my strength is to be able to move without regrets. It's really easy for me to move and to change life, to change cities. I apologize for my English. Sometimes it will be helpful.
It's wonderful. I completely understand it. So that's interesting that you moved around a lot. Do you think that helped you as a filmmaker? Because you had to adapt.
Maybe yes, because I'm traveling a lot. I was like in West Africa last year. This year I was also in Israel, Palestine. I like to move. I think it's because of that. Maybe I like to move, and I like to make movies abroad. And I want to make movies abroad. I don't know why. Because of that, maybe as I was used to move a lot. It's like my nature to move, always to move,
And for people that don't know, we're talking the 70s here. So we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have Skype, we didn't have these things that we have now where you could stay in contact. If you moved, you didn't see them again.
Yeah. You lost everything. You lost your friends, you lost your contacts. We didn't have this possibility, this ability to keep in touch with some people. Some friends they sent me letters, they were writing letters, they sent me letters, but not a lot of friends, It was like 1-2 letters per year, but after the people forgot you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard, if you only met them like a certain period of time, like a month or 2 months or so, it's hard to hold on to that, memory as new memories are coming in. What led you to filmmaking? I'm curious.
What I like, I didn't understand.
What led you to filmmaking? Like what brought you to being a filmmaker, a director?
Yeah. It's an interesting question because when I was young, I used to live in a middle-class family, not very rich. We didn't have books in the house, in the apartment. So the only way for me to get in touch with the world, with the outside, was through movies. So movies helped me a lot to understand the world, to understand where I'm coming from, to understand also my sexuality, to understand people, to get in touch with culture like music, theater, books. So that's why I think I'm so involved in cinema, and I wanted to make movies because it was this link I succeeded to have with the world because of the cinema.
Interesting. That's fascinating. So yeah, so you weren't able to read, but you were able to see, and that was kind of your window into. I don't think a lot of people realize that film can do that for people. You hear that from books, but not enough people realize that with film, that film is kind of the window into other cultures that we don't have. I mean, you can read about it, but I think sometimes the visceral image of actually seeing something, seeing how somebody else lives is just helps more. What films inspired you? I'm curious.
Yeah, but before giving the references, and I could you know, I remember a quote from Jean-Luc Godard, and he said the cinema was a window opened on the world. I don't know if the translation is good, but it's like that, you know, like a window open on the world, you know.
Yeah.
And to you know, on the
I mean,
films. Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry. You know, Breathless is one of my favorite films. So, you know, when you say Jean-Luc Godard, you know, I know.
Le Mépris. This quote is from the Le Mépris. I don't know the title in English, but the French title is Le Mépris with Brigitte Bardot and Michel Piccoli.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I've seen. I'm pretty sure I've seen Pierre Le. I can't remember the name. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Pierrot le Fou. Pierrot le Fou.
Pierre Le Fou. Yeah. Which translates to angry.
It's a very famous
Angry
with Jean-Luc Godard and Anna Karina.
Yeah. Yeah. And Contempt. That's another one I love.
Belmondo.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about those influences, like how
when I was a teenager, because it was really difficult at this time to watch a lot of movies. It's not like now you can access to a lot of movies. At this time, we just have TV, you know, and there was like 1-2 movies per day, 3, 4. It depends on the time, it depends on the day. And I like to watch a lot of, you know, teenage movies like Goonies, this kind of film by Joe Dante, by Spielberg. I was really influenced at this time by this kind of directors, you know, because they were telling the stories of teenagers. And at this time, I was a teenager, so I was really, you know, involved in this kind of stories. And we had also at this time VHS. I don't know the right pronunciation.
Yeah.
VHS. And I used to watch a lot of VHS, you know, like the film by Robert Zemeckis, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I don't remember.
Yeah, with Robert Zemeckis.
Yeah, with Robert Zemeckis and Bob Hoskins, also this kind of the actor. And after I grew up, so I watched other movies, more like modern films like Ingmar Bergman, Michelangelo Antonioni, Visconti, Pasolini, this kind of directors, very, you know, modern at this time. And I was really impressed by this director because they were able to create an universe, a particular universe, a very strong universe. So when I saw this film, when I watched these movies, I was wondering, I want to do that, you know, this kind of film, because it's like magic, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, filmmaking really is kind of like magic. That's a good way to look at it.
When the cinema appears, it was like magic at its time, because the film were screened in circus, you know, at this time.
Do you still get those same feelings when you go see a film at the theater?
I tried when I'm going to watch a movie. I tried to be like when I was like a teenager, you know, to be, you know, really not innocent, but really open-minded, you know. So when you are open-minded, when you are available, you are able to feeling a lot of things, you know. So it's like, you know, relaxing, you know, and open the mind.
Yeah. So you were really inspired also by the coming of age films that like Spielberg, like you said, Goonies, that growing up. That's
I grew
interesting.
up with this film. I grew up with these movies, but after I discovered, I said Antonioni, Visconti, Pasolini, and I discovered also all the directors of the 70s, you know, like De Palma, Scorsese, Coppola, this kind of directors. I'm really, I'm still impressed and I'm still influenced by those directors, but I'm really influenced not by French directors, but by American directors.
Really
Yeah,
interesting.
that's
And you,
weird because I don't like I don't really like the French cinema. I like the French cinema of the 40s, the 50s, or the 60s, but I don't
hmm.
like the cinema contemporary cinema, French contemporary cinema.
Have you seen the film, the 2005 film Cachet? Did you like that?
Ah, Caché, yeah, Haneke. But
Yeah,
Haneke, director from Austria, making films in France and also in Germany,
yeah,
Austria. And
yeah,
yeah, really big director. It's so direct, so cruel. I like this cruelty in his movies.
yeah. I mean that to me, when I saw that film here in America, that was like really eye opening because it was a film. It had no music.
Yeah,
There's no background score to it, and it has this documentary type feel to it, and you never really figure out what it is. So I like the ambiguousness or like not knowing what like is this real or is this not real. So I had to mention that as I was doing research on you. I was like, I bet he's seen this movie. There's no way.
yeah,
There's no way he's not seen this film.
a great director.
So yeah,
So really important in the cinema, in the world cinema.
yeah, yeah. You mentioned De Palma. What is it about De Palma that you that you liked? I'm curious.
The films of the 70s and the 80s, I like Phantom of Paradise, Carrie, Fury, and we created a society company, a film
Hmm.
company, and the name of this company is Fury, inspired by the title of the movie Fury, you know. And I
Yeah.
like Blow Out, Dress to Kill, Body Double, all these films, you know. Even Raising Cain, because Raising Cain is, you know, one of the movies he did in the 90s, and it's like a totally film. I don't know how to say, you know, because when you are watching Raising Cain, he's talking about body double, obsession. This kind, you know, it's like a
Yeah.
son, a total, you know. I don't know how to say in
Yeah.
English.
Yeah. That's
But
cool. At the
now,
70s.
now De Palma is getting old, so it's
Yeah.
not so good right now, the movies he did. But in the 70s, and the 80s, and on the 90s, it was really, really amazing, all the
Yeah.
movies he did. Even like
Yeah.
Untouchable, you know, and I like, I don't know the name in Carlitos Way. Carlitos Way
So
is
yeah,
like
it Carlito's Way.
well, the sequel, a kind of sequel of Scarface, you know, because we have
It is in some ways. Yeah, it is kind of a way a sequel to Scarface. It's good. That's a good way
because
to look at it.
there is the same actor, you know, Al Pacino, you know.
Yeah. I love Sean Penn in that film. He's so different in that film
Ah,
than he
it's
was in
amazing
anything else.
with his with his hair, you know.
The hair and everything. Yeah, no, I love there's something about his when you mentioned Scarface and Carlito's Way of that feeling of just like, you're just seeing somebody's downward descent. They just are continuing to fall. And you just don't know when they're like gonna catch it. I mean, he like gets to this point and then it's like everything's good, and it's like, here we go. Straight down. Scarface loses everything. Carlito's Way. He's trying to do it as everything's coming down, and then it's yeah. I noticed on your YouTube channel for Fury, you had a lot about Visconti. Talk a little bit about Visconti.
Visconti was one of the most important director for me because he was, you know, really cultivated, you know, and he was out He was assumed as an homosexual, an artist, aristocratic homosexual. He was also communist. So it was a lot of things, communist, homosexual, aristocratic, director.
Yeah.
And he did only 14 movies, only 14 movies. And all the 14 movies are really, really great, since 1942 until the end of the 70s, like the last one is The Innocent, but it's really, it was so perfect. It was like, he liked perfection. He was
Mm.
really involved when he was creating the movie, and in the writings, in the costume, in the direction of the actors, and he was really important for me because of that, of this exigence. I don't know if you can say that. Exigence? No.
I kind of understand what
Yeah.
you're saying.
When you
Can't
want to
quite.
do something really perfect, and that's why I think I'm not influenced, but I'm impressed by his work, And it was
Yeah.
really important for me when I was young to watch this kind of movie because, as I said, it was cinema is like a window opened on the world, and because of Visconti, I decided to read books because of Visconti,
Mm.
and I read the books of Thomas Mann, and I read all the books of Thomas Mann, like Buddenbrook. I don't know the title in English, but so that's why I think
Yeah.
also Visconti is important because he make me discover the literature, the theater, the music, because all his movies were, as I said, a total thing,
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Everything was
That's
important in his movies,
That's
He w-
fantastic, though, that he inspired you to read. I don't think people realize that a film can bring out so many different things. Somebody can go and read. Somebody can go. You have no idea what that film is going to do to somebody, and it's. I love the fact that a film can inspire somebody to read. I don't
and
think that gets talked enough.
yeah, I think it's possible to understand, but at this time, when in the 80s, in the 90s, we didn't have internet, and the only way to understand the world, to discover the world when you don't have money, was the films, was the movies, there was some series, but the film were so artistic that it was really important for me, to watch movies, to understand the world,
Mm,
And when you are
just
living in a family, and when you are living in an apartment where there are no books, and the only way to reach the culture is movies,
yeah. Let's talk about your first film, Manhunt, or Chasse à la I can't. I still can't do it right.
It seems good.
Um,
No, you can go on. You don't have
yeah,
to be ashamed because for us French, we liked foreigners, talking in French because there is this accent, very cute.
yeah,
So, chasse à l'homme, chasse à l'homme.
yeah. So yeah, so tell me about that. Tell me a little bit about the process. I got to see. I saw the trailer of it, and I liked what you. I liked the composition of the shots, the claustrophobic feeling that you created. The close up camera angles, and then just that bleak look, that bleak color palette. So talk a little bit about making that film.
It was a difficult movie to do because we didn't have a lot of money at this time to do the film. So I spent all my money, my economy, my savings. I invested my savings in in this film. So it was like a war film. You don't have money and you have to do the film in the forest without authorization, and it was really hard to do this movie without money. But we succeeded to do it, and I tried to be, to do the shots, to realize the shots I have in my mind, and it was not so easy, because it was cold, and we weren't enough people on the shooting, because so many things to do, But I'm pretty proud of this film because it was my first fiction movie, and it was tough, really tough to do this film.
One of the things I noticed is you kind of added sound because you couldn't show the visual, but you could have the sound of like helicopters. I don't know. I'm gathering this from the trailer, so I haven't seen the full film. I tried to find it, but I couldn't find it. But I loved
the film is not on streaming. I don't want to show this movie because it was my first fiction movie, So I'm a little bit ashamed of this movie because it's not perfect, but it was important for me to do this film. That's why I invested my savings, because no one in the French cinema wanted to help me to make this movie. No one wanted to give me money to make this movie. So I decided to make by my own way, So that's why also the film is not perfect, but I'm pretty proud because I did everything I can do to make this movie, Like, as you said, there was an helicopter, but it was only sound, We worked a lot with the sounds, because the sound of the forest, the sound of the weapons, because and the film is inspired by a book, a little book called also Chasse à l'homme, Manhunt, written by Jean-Bernard Puy and I don't remember the name, Patrick Renal. Jean-Bernard Puy and Patrick Renal. On this book, it's a really short novel, was inspired by the hunting of Khaled Kelkal. It was like the first terrorist in France, when there was a lot of bombs in the 90s in the subway, I don't know if you remember this time. It was like a prototype of a terrorist, Khaled Kelkal. He was from Lyon also. And I wanted to work on this book because it was talking about a guy trying to escape from the police. And there was a LGBT also issue, inside this manhunting, this manhunt. Because usually when you want to make a gay movie, there was two options. There is two options. The discover of your sexuality. When you are young, you don't know what to do, if you are homosexual, heterosexual. And there is the second option, the very acting solution, the very acting movie, when you want to defend whites, LGBT whites, this kind of thing. But when you are trying to do something else, when you are trying to put homosexuals in another set, like here in Manhunt, in a forest with a manhunt, it's not really welcomed. It's not really well seen. You know what I mean or not?
Yeah, no, I get what you mean, but it's kind of camouflaged some of what.
It's difficult to say, but when you are waiting to make gay movies, different movies, as I said, there was two options, and when you didn't want to try this option, but to talk about LGBT subject, but with other pictures, other stories, that's why I wanted to do Manhunt, because it was really different. And when I screened, when the film was screened in the festivals, some people said to me that I was homophobic. That's weird. That's why it was interesting. Because
so it struck a chord with people, the fact that they would come at you as homophobic, which is usually a good thing when somebody has that kind of reaction to something. It's usually something.
Yeah, but it's LGBT people who say that my film was homophobic, because I think I was trying to do another kind of LGBT movie, and that's why even right now, it's difficult to make this kind of LGBT movie like Orsino or even Chameleon. Chameleon was rejected by a lot of LGBT festivals. Why?
Really?
Because it's not, the white LGBT movie,
Really? I mean,
Yeah,
I thought it would, because what I like about, I mean, I'm just gathering from the trailers, but I can see that like a lot of the films in the gay genre, they try to kind of almost exist too much on the sexuality aspect of it. Whereas here it's you're playing with that idea of hiding it and
yeah.
revealing it.
Mm.
And I and I and I think that's really interesting. Um,
I was interested by this subject, to talk about LGBT things in West Africa. There is no movies about LGBT in Africa. There was sometimes like series in African TV, in West African TV. They are talking about homosexuality, but very, very few. It's very, it's not the main subject. So my movie is a short movie. There is no short movies about this subject in West Africa. So I thought that this movie where would be screened a lot, because I'm not saying that my film is perfect. There are some imperfections, but it's normal.
yeah,
I did a film in Africa. It's not so easy to do a film in Africa. It's really
yeah,
hard, and in an homophobic country. So I was really, I really thought that this film would be screened more, but the film has been rejected a lot. I do not. I think it's because it's not the good LGBT movie, because I'm not showing perfect bodies, like perfect black bodies,
mm,
as people wants to, this kind of body very muscled, and because I'm white, making movies about black people.
interesting. So they were. I imagine that there must have been a lot of fear even making it, was not letting because
Yeah, it was not safe. It was not safe.
yeah.
Yeah,
So it's very guerrilla filmmaking style,
I don't.
almost like.
But it's an adventure, That's why also I want to make this kind of movie, because it's unusual. Also, I don't want to make a movie has already been done.
Yeah, we've got enough of those. We need new things, and I like that.
I created a festival like during 10 years. The name of the festival is Combat. I was the director of the festival. I was the programmer of the festival. So I watched a lot of movies. Each year there was a lot of movies to watch, and that's why I'm saying that, because I think that Chameleon, the movie I did in Africa, they were it was able to be screened in the festivals, because I watched a
Mm,
lot of movies, and so I
yeah,
know that this film should be screened.
yeah. Go back to I'm gonna butcher it. Orsino, Orsino,
Orsini,
Usino,
Orsini. There is
Us,
like U, U,
U, U,
Ursinho.
Usino,
Yeah,
Usino,
Ursinho. That's
Usino.
good. So good.
I love that you played a lot with colors in that. You brought in that like the color, that purple color. As I was watching the trailer, the first thing that came to my mind was Eyes Wide Shut. Was just some of the
Yeah,
with the masks and everything. I don't.
I didn't think about this film when I did Ursinho,
Yeah.
but it's weird, because sometimes you are influenced by some directors like De Palma, and I was thinking of De Palma when I did Ursinho, really, because of plan séquence, just one shot during a long
Yeah.
time. So I was thinking a lot about De Palma when he did the I don't remember the name in the title in English. Bonfire of Vanities. No, I don't know.
Yeah. I know of that. I know of that film. Yeah. Interesting. That's interesting. I'm surprised that didn't. I thought it would go over more in the film festival circuit, but all right. So moving on to Chameleon or Change Color. What's the reception of that film now?
Which one? Chameleon?
Yeah, Chameleon. Yeah.
Chameleon.
How is it? Do you feel it's that one's?
It's unfair. I think it's unfair, but because it was a lot of work, doing this film. It was not so safe to do this film, and the film was screened only in 4 festivals. My previous movie, like Olijnyk, was screened like in 20 festivals, and he won prizes, this kind of thing. Because I think people like to watch Brazilian gay movies. So maybe my film was a cliche. So that's why maybe a lot of people, they liked this movie, And I think also because of the second main character in Orsino is really handsome, is really like muscle, So I think people, they like this kind of thing, And in Chameleon, there was like this kind of bodies really perfect, I have 3 main characters and they are not muscle, this kind of body, And I'm telling the real story, what is really happening right now in Africa. A lot of blackmails between gay people. It's not for sure heterosexual people blackmailing over LGBT people. Really, it's LGBT people blackmailing LGBT people. When you are homosexual living in a homophobic society, you will become homophobic for sure.
So do you think it's being rejected because of that because you're showing the homophobia?
I don't know. It's not the rated movie. I don't, you know what I mean? It's not the film that we want to watch. It's not the LGBT movie that we want to watch.
Yeah, interesting. But you screened it at the Charlotte Film Festival.
Yeah. Just
how was the reception there?
He won a prize in Charlotte Film Festival, but I don't know. Yeah. I don't remember the prize he won in Charlotte Film Festivals. I have to check. I don't remember which prize he won. You don't remember?
I mean, I can look it up. I was hoping you would have that.
I'm checking. He won an honorable mention narrative feature. Honorable mention narrative feature. Because it was screened as a feature movie in Charlotte Film Festival.
Yeah.
Even the film lasts like 35 minutes.
In New York, I always go to the New York Film Festival, and I feel like your film would play really well there.
Yeah, it has been. The film was rejected by the New York Film Festival. A lot of festivals.
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. So that's interesting. You're pretty much showcasing something that I don't think a lot of people realize is that there's a bias in these film festivals to certain films.
I don't know why. Maybe when people are selected the movie, I know how it is because I created a festival like 10 years, and sometimes you are selected the movies which have already been selected by other festivals. So finally, it's always the same movies selected by the festivals.
Interesting. Talk a little.
Yeah, it's my point of view.
Talk a little bit about the crowdfunding, because you created that video for crowdfunding. I assume that was you filming it. Talk about the advantage, because you made Manhunt. That was in 2000. and that's a completely different time. And now here, do you find it easier to raise money for a film now that we have technology and now that we have things like crowdfunding, or is it still?
In when I did Manhunt, as you said, in 2010, there was no crowdfunding, so that's
Yeah.
why I had to spend all my savings, you know. And when I did Orsino, I needed money, more money, so succeeded to have like 5,000 euros, you know. But the film costed like 100,000, no 150,000. I mean, the cost of a film is 100. So 5,000 for crowdfunding is not a lot. But I knew that I wouldn't be able to have more than 5,000 because I don't have, you know, the network to have more, you know. And it was the same thing for Chameleon. It was harder for Chameleon to get money because it was post-COVID, during COVID, and the people, they didn't want, you know, they were not so generous than before, you know. So Chameleon, the cost of Chameleon is like 100 on I don't remember the name. 110,000 the cost of a film, but I succeeded to raise to get like 5,000, like for Orsino.
Talk a little bit about filming during because you filmed during the pandemic. What was that
Yeah,
like?
in Africa it was not the same thing than in Europe. There was restrictions, but not so many restrictions. Sometimes you have to wear the mask, you know, in the supermarket, but that was the only restrictions, you know. And I had an actor who had, you know, who was positive on COVID, so it was the mess on the shoot, you know. But this kind of difficulties, this kind of new difficulties on the shoot, you know, it was not really easy to shoot during the COVID during the pandemic situation.
Did you find during, because I don't know, I'm not there, but was it more relaxed situation in France, or was it, I mean, here it was madness. Everything kind of closed and it was like impossible to, like there was a period of months where you just couldn't. New York shut down for like almost 6, 7 months. I mean, it is amazing.
Yeah, we did the film last year, so we were at the end of the pandemic situation, you know. So, but it was not so crazy, you know. There was not so, it was not so scary, you know. It was not so
Mm,
tensed than in Europe, in in the Ivory Coast, where we did the film, you know.
that's good. So it was more, they more understood it. It was going to wear the mask. We're gonna,
We were more relaxed, you know. We were really more relaxed about the COVID.
that's great to know, because I mean, here it was like good luck filming anything unless
Yeah,
you had a gigantic
as all,
astronomical budget of something like Mission
all
Impossible or something.
all people became crazy, you know.
Yeah.
All the,
No,
yeah.
well, it's interesting because when you see pandemic, I mean, you look at the zombie films, which kind of reveal what people are like during a pandemic, and then you see what a pandemic actually does to people.
Yeah,
It's like it's not that different. it's, it's
yeah,
like this may be a work of fiction, but this is kind of how they act. It's almost like every man for themselves and complete, chaos. I mean, here we saw, people completely split on how to see how to, there was no like reasonable idea of how to look at it. But that's interesting. Talk a little bit about Fury and how that started. How did you start that company?
the company, we created the company 10 years ago, in 2010, only for the movie Manhunt. At the beginning, it was to help the movie to have like a structure, you know, to pay people because we spent a lot of money, you know. We spent my money on the movie to do the movie. So it was better to have a structure, a company to make the movie. And after, we decided to keep the company and I did other movies with this company, like a documentary, Olijnyk, and Chameleon. But it's a lot of stuff because I'm not only director, screenwriter, but I'm also producer. So I'm like, taking the receipts,
Yeah.
working
Yeah.
with the numbers. I don't like that, but I don't have a choice. If I want to
Yeah.
make movies, it's the only way, because no one will trust me to make movies.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
That's
I completely understand. I mean, it's the
why,
same thing here with me. I have to wear a lot of hats as well. So,
you have to fight
I
also.
understand.
Yeah, you have to.
Um, this is kind of a cliche question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. um, where do you see yourself in filmmaking in 2 years?
Uh,
I know
could
it's
you
cliche.
repeat
Yeah,
the question?
where do you see yourself in filmmaking in 2 years? Like, where do you see yourself in directing? Like, where do you want to go with?
I would like where I want to stay.
Yeah, I
uh,
mean, where do you see yourself progressing in movies?
right now, working on movie projects, and I want to make a movie here in Israel, Palestine, because this movie will be the last one after Orsino and Chameleon. It's like a triptych, a trilogy. The
Mm,
three films talk about blackmailing between homosexual people, between in the gay community. So for me, it's important to make this movie here in Middle East, because there are not this kind of movie, and I think the movie won't be screened in the festivals also. But it's like that. I'm making movies that I want to watch. It's normal. And I worked on a project that I wanted to do in Brazil, but I'm talking about this thing because it's interesting. It's like 1 year, 2 years ago, I was writing on this movie. I was, selected in a residence, and at the end of the process, when I finally gave to them the script, they said, "Oh, your movie is not enough LGBT." I said, "Why? Why my film is not enough LGBT?" And they didn't succeed to say why, because you are meaning that my film is not LGBT enough because we are not effeminate, because it's not, there is no ABBA, there is no dress. That's why they say that. I was so angry about that,
yeah.
because it's really cliche. It's easier to do gay films with cliche than trying to show another reality with LGBT people. It's really, really difficult.
And I like that you're doing that. You're taking the hard road. And I know it's got to be stressful because you put so much time into this, and I can see the work that you're doing. And it's got to be soul crushing to see like them not getting it, but just keep at it. Times will change, things will change.
Yeah,
If you continue to do great work, people are gonna people are gonna see it.
yeah,
It's just you just got to find the right people to see it.
but
These
sometimes,
people that are seeing it are going, they're nitpicking things
yeah, but
instead of
sometimes
looking at.
you want to resign because people, they just want to watch sugar film. They
Yeah,
want to watch sweet films.
it's the same thing here. I mean, there's so many people. It's just like I just want to be happy, and it's like, well, I want to learn something. I want films that are gonna broaden my spectrum on things.
Yeah,
I mean it.
yeah,
So I don't always need the everything is fixed. And I mean, I love Spielberg films as much as everybody else, but I don't always need that. I don't need everything wrapped up in a little bow. Sometimes I like things just left to like, well, what did happen?
but and I'm also disappointed by the gay community, because right now, for example, I was in Tel Aviv, and I was really surprised by the selfishness of the gay community. They don't want to be involved in political things. So the problem right now for the gay community is to be involved in the political things, because otherwise, other bad things would happen, like in the United States, they want maybe cancel the gay wedding, the gay
Yeah.
marriage. So we have to be careful with that because gay people, they just want to have fun sometimes. They just to be superficial. They don't want to be involved, as I said, in political things because it's not fun. But finally, you will lose your rights because some people, extreme right, will think in your place, what your place, You know what I
Right
mean?
now, right now I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, but I'm. Are you asking me what I am sexually?
No,
Oh,
I'm what I was I was talking about the selfishness of gay community because they
yeah,
don't want to be involved no more in political things. So because of that, some people extreme right, they will think, they will try to
yeah.
do bad things.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, the left. We're in this conundrum right now where it's becoming very tribal. I don't know if that's happening where you are, but I imagine it is because I can see the same similarities. You have your version of Trump, just like we do. All these similar characters are showing up. Similar things are happening, and this tribalism. I don't know what exactly is driving it. I mean, it could be just the process, but I see what you're saying about about the gay community, where like they want to make films, but they don't want to make anything that's going to be controversial that might infringe upon it. It's like, oh, we have the high ground here. These are the movies that people are accepting with gay movies. We don't want to push that further because we're scared that we're going to lose it all. So I understand what you're saying. They're kind of like under cover fire here, and they're just like, ooh, that's a little too much for us. Let's just stay here. Let's just say. But yeah, you bring up a good point. I mean, if these things are not addressed, it will be, the far right will take these things away because I mean, we have an election tomorrow.
Yeah,
We don't
middle,
know what's happening.
mm.
We don't know
it's
where this country's going.
it's really awful what's happening in the United States because it's like a laboratory, But
Yeah.
what will happen in the other countries?
Well, yeah, that's a great way to look at it. It's really, it's like the starting point. We're setting the precedent, and then it's doing that. And the thing that is on the ballot tomorrow is democracy, and
Yeah,
it's very
it's
terrifying to see where that goes. I mean, are we going to stand for the most votes wins, or are we going to go? Now we're in this conundrum where if you get where you don't get the most votes, oh, I didn't win. It was rigged. There's something there, and it's like you can go all the way back to the Weimar Republic and see where these things happen. I mean, just yeah, it's terrifying
the,
because it's like we need to be
yeah, the
better.
s- the scariest thing is that people are so stupid. They are believing this kind of people. I don't know why. It's a lack of education. They don't want to make
That's
the effort to think.
that's what I'm wondering. Is it the lack? Is it the lack of education? Is it a showcase of education has failed in this country, and now it's spreading to other countries? Which
Yeah,
that's the thing that I don't think a lot of people realize. It's like what happens here will show the way to a lot of other countries,
yeah.
and it's
You're
terrifying. I
totally,
don't know.
you are totally right. Mm.
Yeah, I don't. It's like I don't know how you. I don't know how we reach people with it. It's like it's become so tribal now. It's
Mm.
you know, I don't know. Let's hope for the best, but it's
Yeah.
uh,
I'm French, so I'm pessimistic.
well, yeah, you guys on the left, you guys merged together and to form a bigger party, which I thought was that's that's a great idea. Here on the
Yeah,
left, they just kind of want to hang on people that kind of are the fringe of the, kind of like, well, we're kind of
but
left, but we're not.
I think this left group, if they decided to be together earlier, we wouldn't have Macron. You know,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
I know.
too late when they decided to be together. all the
I
left.
know, but at least they're making that decision here. They're not even doing that. They're still trying to be like, no, we still want to, well, we can get them to hang. It was like, no, they don't agree with you. We need, in this country, we need more parties so that people have more choice.
Yeah, of
I
course.
think choice would break it up. Two is
Yeah.
just, I
You
mean,
just have, you don't have a lot of choice, a
yeah.
lot of choices.
I mean, look at the Whigs and the Tories. I mean, they're going through the same thing. I mean, it's just like, you know, I mean,
It's
it's
like,
kind of interesting to see what happened there. They picked a prime minister and they lasted 6 weeks, but at least that person resigned. In this country, if we pick somebody bad, they stay on for like another. They're not going to leave. It's sad. Last thing I wanted to talk about. I loved your photos on Instagram. I loved the composition of them, especially the my notes here. The first one, July 13th, 2018. Like you're on this thing, and there's like a girl standing there. I don't know. I liked that shot.
which one? I don't remember.
It's the very first shot you have on Instagram. So it's all the way to.
It was with my nephews, I think.
It may have been, yeah.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
this one.
That's it. I
Yeah.
love that. I love the way
It's my niece, you know.
That's your niece?
Yeah. It was in Greece a long time ago.
In Greece. Well, there's another place. We don't know where they're going.
Yeah.
Every country, we're all going through the same thing, and it's just like,
Yeah.
hopefully democracy can prevail. So wrapping up here, do you have a beginning of the day routine? I always ask everyone this, and I'm always curious.
What did you say?
Do you have a beginning of the day routine? Like what's the first thing you do when you wake up? Do you go in?
Like everyone, I'm watching my smartphone. I'm checking
You're
all
already,
the,
yeah.
I'm not very original, you know. And when I'm waking up, it's really I need time, you know. I need a lot of time because before we're really waking up, you know. And after I'm taking my breakfast, and after I begin to write, you know. So like this kind of routine, I really need to be awake, but it's a long time being before being awake.
Yeah.
I'm so
No,
slow
no.
sometimes. I'm so slow.
Do you have a nighttime routine? Like, what do you do when you're ready to go to bed? Like, do you have a?
I need to watch a movie before sleeping because
Really?
it's for me, yeah, it's really important for me because it's like relaxing, you know. I need that before relaxing and thinking about something else, you know, because I'm getting old and my sleep is not, it's weaker and weaker.
Yeah.
But it's life.
Well, it's hard for all of us to sleep.
Yeah.
Do you meditate?
I tried. I tried once or twice, but I was not convinced by meditation. No,
Interesting.
because maybe I have to try again, you know. But I found excuses like, oh, I don't have time. But I think I have time. I have time to meditate. But I tried, as I said, once, twice, you know. But I wasn't really convinced. My meditation for me is watching movies. Really,
Yeah,
meditation. Yeah.
same here. I still get a form of meditation when I'm watching films. So I mean, don't like leave that out.
Because
For me,
I'm really traveling, you know. I'm really outside of me, you know.
yeah, same here. I am so concentrated. I'm not the type that when I go see a movie, like I don't want to hear any talking. I didn't even really want to breathe that hard. I really want to just like kind of like analyze every single frame. I'm just like sitting there, just like, you know, and like you said, you kind of go into a meditative state. I interviewed a hypnosis person who works with actors on hypnosis, and she said that is a form of induction. When we watch a movie, we are kind of in some ways allowing ourselves to hypnotize ourselves because we're just sitting there watching a screen. images,
Nice.
but
It's
we
really
just fall right into it. Yeah. For me, meditation, it kind of calms, it kind of gets me out of it and makes me just stop, because like I always want to just keep moving. And meditation, just forces you to stop and look within and be like, oh, I never thought about that and seeing that. But it's a complicated process. I'm trying to make a vlog showcasing every day after I meditate, I go and do like a vlog and be like, all right, this is how I felt. And be like, so just show people like it's not magic, but the progression of it. So that's something I'm working on. What are you reading right now?
I'm reading the books of Simenon, Georges Simenon. It's a well-known French writer. I was reading pas Stendhal, Flaubert. I like Flaubert. And I was reading a lot of LGBT books, Yeah.
What
I
do
was
you,
like,
what,
I have,
oh, sorry.
I will find,
Yeah, let me see.
there is this kind of movie,
The Arab is Queer, an anthology by LGBTQ. Okay.
It's really
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I'm working on my project here in between Israel and Palestine,
Yeah.
and it's really interesting, to work on that because there are two topics: the Jew and the Arabic. How is it, between a gay Jew and a gay an Arabic gay Arabic,
Just be careful there.
What?
Be careful in those countries.
Uh,
They're not the most forgiving on certain things.
because right now I am in Palestine, Ramallah, and I found people really nice. I find people really nice here in Ramallah. So it's not so, because
Yeah.
when we are in Western countries, we just have bad pictures, violent pictures. But when you are here, it's not so dangerous,
Yeah. No, I mean, there's dangerous people everywhere, and there's calm and there's normal people everywhere. I mean, the problem is, the news likes to make it sound like these countries that, but yeah, no, I completely believe you. There are people that are very nice. It's just the people that are not nice, that lurk in the shadows, that I'm worried about for you. You're not going to see them. They're not going to come out openly. They're just going to, they're just going to attack. But yeah, there are good people on every side. And I think that's great that you have moved around so much, because it gives you such a different aspect of looking at things.
Yeah.
And I know you're kind of in a conundrum here with this situation, but just keep the good fight. You're good.
We try.
Good things are going to happen. What are you listening to right now?
I was listening Max Richter. I like Max Richter, Hans Zimmer, this kind of composer. I really like Max Richter. I was listening the music he composed for the Leftovers. It's the name of a series. I don't remember the name. I will check, but I think it's Leftovers.
Oh, yes. Yeah. No, I've listened to that song. That's a great, yeah, he's great.
I like this,
That's a great,
I
find that score is even better than the show.
Yeah. Because
yeah.
I discovered this composer with what is the name? In French, I think it's Valsek Bashir, but I don't know the name the title in English. I have to check. And in French, in English, it's Waltz with Bashir.
Oh, the film.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's really nice. I love this music.
I need to watch that. So you like to listen to a lot of film scores and film. I love that. I do too.
When you are writing, it's really important to have something to focus. On the score music is really interesting because you can be really focused on what you are writing. It's so difficult to talk in English.
You're doing great. I have interviewed people from other countries. You are perfectly understand you.
Thanks.
It's,
You are
I
nice.
mean, I've interviewed so many people in India, and I have
Yeah,
like no idea. And I have to say, can you repeat that? It's just like,
the accent
because
is
like if I don't understand it, I have to then reinterpret it for everyone to, to hear. Um, yeah, no, I love listening to film scores because one, it takes me to the film there, but also there's like a certain energy. It's very it's very similar to classical music,
yeah.
and that
It,
it gives it that feel. I don't know if you've listened to David Lynch's composer. I mean, he's not really his composer, but he works with him all the time. Angelo, I can
Angelo
never
Badalamenti.
pronounce. Yeah, yeah,
Angelo Badalamenti.
yeah. He's got some really interesting. Like I love the score to Twin Peaks.
Blue
Uh,
Velvet.
yeah,
There is Blue Velvet. Yeah, it's really nice.
yeah. It has that feel. So that's cool. So when you're writing, you like to have that. It's the same thing here. I like to have that. If it's, I don't know, there's something about. I mean, if you're somebody that likes film scores, there's no explanation I can really give you. You just kind of get it. Like when I watch a film, that's one of the first things I notice is the
Yeah, the score.
score and the background score. And I'm like, I mean, I'll see indie films and be like, how do I get that score? It doesn't exist. It's not what's it? There's that film that Jake Gyllenhaal did about the art culture, Velvet Buzzsaw. And I liked the score they did, but they never released it. And I'm like, all I have is little samples of it on YouTube, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of it, but it's not the full score. I like hearing the full score and the progression of it. Like, what is it? Scarface. They just released the full film score, not the soundtrack, the film score to Scarface. And I'm like, oh, I didn't notice that. This track here in this scene, it's the same sound, but he changes a couple of instruments to make it feel different and heightened the tension. So I always appreciate the film score. What are you watching right now? That's the last question.
What did I watch? I'm really watching a series right now, like Manifest, for example, or there is Black Earth Rising. Black Earth Rising, it's a really nice series. 7 seconds. 7 seconds is really nice also. And I'm watching a series because I want to make a. I'm writing right now a series because it's the best way to talk about something right now is series more than movies right now, and it's a series in Africa about the homophobic situation. It's like after working on Chameleon, Change Couleur in West Africa, I wanted to pursue to invest again in this subject because there are so many things to do to tell about that. You know, so many stories. It's incredible. It's really amazing.
Interesting. Well, thank you so much for doing this. This has been great. I
Thanks a
hope
lot
you've
for you.
enjoyed this.
It was really nice to talk with you. Really nice.
Yeah. How can people reach you?
On Instagram, you can on Instagram, and yeah, Instagram is the best way to reach me because it's my Instagram is not closed. It's open. It's not private. I mean.
Cool. Wonderful. Well, thank you.
Thanks a lot, and I hope to see you soon. Maybe the United States.
Absolutely. Okay, that about does it for this episode. I want to thank my guest, Stéphane Olijnyk. He's a director. I suggest you check out his work. As always, you can find me at Justin Yance. I welcome your comments, suggestions, and if you enjoyed what you heard, please subscribe or consider subscribing. And I will see you next time on the DMF.